If you're looking behind me and you're thinking, that doesn't look like Trinidad, you would be right. With our current stay on the hardstand now extending past 7 months, the warranty works are still in full force. The boat is being checked and rechecked, ground and refiberglassed, windows are being pulled, and in some areas gel coat is starting to go back on. But these warranty works have now got to the point where the interior of the starboard owner's hull and the saloon are being worked on, making those areas uninhabitable for a period of time.
So we got Dexter on the boat. Getting ready to do some work.
Rather than trying to find a hotel in Trinidad to stay in for 3 weeks, Trent decided to try and have a break from this situation, which, if you've seen our other videos, you can understand has been incredibly stressful and it has taken a toll on everybody. The time period that the starboard hull had to be vacated for just happened to coincide with the Annapolis Boat Show. And after all the feedback we've heard from other cruisers, we decided, why not? Let's fly up. So while we were there, we did look at a few different boats, some of which captured our interest for being what I would describe as the ultimate charter vessel, while others had features that they're just really important to us as liveaboard cruisers. Now, before I get to the boats that we did see, I'm just going to do a quick roundup of the brands that we didn't visit, keeping in mind our primary focus is multi-hulls in the 45 to 55 foot range. Let's start with Seawind. Now, we went to the Seawind booth because we really wanted to see either the 1370, which is the one that Ruby Rose 2 has, or the 1600. But unfortunately, they didn't have either of those. They only had the smaller models, which was the 1170 and the 1190. That was a pity, especially because we did meet one of the naval architects who is involved in designing Seawinds. Balanced Catamarans had 2 boats at the show. Now, both of those boats were within the multi-hull size range that we were looking at, but Trent's already seen quite a few new Balance yachts during the time that he spent in Cape Town. HH were meant to have the HH44 at the show, which we would have been interested in seeing, but unfortunately there was some kind of logistical issue and it didn't make it. All they had in the end was the HH66, which is too big. Lagoon is one I didn't feel the need to go and see because aside from some obvious design features like the sail plan and the bridge deck clearance, I think it's become evident through this channel that I have strong opinions on the quality of workmanship and in particular on customer experience and warranty procedures, and for now I just don't think we would be a very good fit. Leopard we didn't go and visit, and that is not a knock on Leopard. It's because we already have a Leopard 45. There is a 2023 Leopard 45 sitting a few spots up from us in the yard that we've looked at, and we've been invited to go and have a look at Leopard 50s from a few of the owners. So for us, just going there wasn't a priority. Now onto the boats that we did go and see, and first up is Bali. Now, driven partially by my curiosity about dream yachts, who through their ownership structure are now actually owned in part by the same people who have bought Robertson and Kane, we went to the Dream Yacht charter booth and took a look at a charter version of the Bali 4.8. And this is the boat that I would describe as an absolute machine for charter.
Gonna drop it down here and go like this. Sit across that.
The open plan saloon, fold down exterior door, and ample seating make it perfect for entertaining during a charter. We were pleasantly surprised by the use of space and the quality of certain interior fixings and inbuilt appliances, such as the oven and cooktop. As a charter spec boat, it was a 4-cabin layout. Each cabin was a good size with a separate toilet and shower.
I think it's pretty well put together.
And is this a shower?
One benefit of the layout was that each cabin could be isolated from the others, with private access to the rear cabins, which is a huge plus if you're chartering, in particular if you're using it as a party platform.
That's just enough headspace. But as I say, this is a charter spec.
I honestly have to say we've been really pleasantly surprised by the layout and the quality of this. Like obviously it's a charter boat, but it's quite nice.
We spent about 20 minutes on the Bali, and walking away, my immediate impression was that Bali know their target audience. They are designing for short-term charters in island-hopping destinations like Croatia, not blue water liveaboard cruises. And for that purpose, I found this Bali's design to be outstanding.
Next, Fountaine Pajot. Now they had quite a few of their models on display, so we opted to go and have a look at the Tanna 47 and Aura 51.
Size-wise, I preferred the Aura 51, and I also preferred the saloon layout on the 51, because I do tend to get seasick and have concerns about cooking in a rear-facing space while underway. Neither boat had a front door incorporated into the design like our Leopard 45, which I would personally miss, but the rear cockpit area was spacious with a hard top and ample seating. There were also winches mounted on the rear, a feature we'd like to add to our Leopard, as it would be useful when trying to pin the boat in an anchorage. The owner's hull of the Tanna 47 was spacious, feeling more like an apartment than a yacht cabin. There were some clever storage solutions in the bridge deck that I appreciated, as storage is always a priority for liveaboard cruises. The bathroom was spacious, but I did realise that there is no door to seal it off. I find that boat showers can make the hull very humid, so would prefer to have a bathroom door like there is on the Leopard 45. A deal breaker for us with the Fountaine Pajots we saw is the helm layout. When helming the boat, I want to be able to see and operate the clutches, winches, helm wheel and instruments from roughly the same standing position. But on the Aura 51 and Tanna 47, there is a walkway in between the helm and instruments and the clutches and winches. When queried, the broker's answer was to rely on the autopilot, but based on my experiences sailing, I want to be able to see the instruments when unfurling and adjusting the sails, tacking, and raising the mainsail. I also noticed that the electric winch switches that were installed on the Tanna 47 had to be operated by hand due to the height. On our Leopard 45, the switches are operated by foot, leaving both hands free to operate the clutches and ropes. Another issue was the engine compartment size and the engine positioning. As a whole, it seemed less comfortable and spacious to work in than our current engine bay. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised by the Fountaine Pajots we saw, having been disappointed when I previously toured one in 2020, but there's certain aspects of the design that don't suit my preferences.
One catamaran brand we knew we wanted to see at the show was Privilege. They had an older 50 on display with the brokers providing verbal feedback about what things had been changed for the current models.
The first thing we noticed about the Privilege was the davit system, as it's a very functional design that had almost all of the traits Trent looks for in a davit. In the helm, we'd prefer a cable throttle, but we were pleased to hear that the newer models come with marine glass at the front of the helm, which for various reasons we prefer over Perspex. The exterior areas were functional, and we particularly appreciated the windlass positioning. On the Leopard and other models where the chain comes out in between the hulls, there is the need for a bridle and the risk of the chain hitting the hull when anchoring in adverse conditions if the boat isn't kept perfectly aligned. Having the anchor deployed from the front resolves this issue. Looking at the deck, I was concerned with the amount of space available for solar. When we spoke to the broker, they seemed to have little interest in installing an extensive solar system, saying they would only sell the boat with a generator. There does not appear to be readily accessible roof space to install rigid solar panels, which is something we prioritised, and we currently have over 3,200 watts of rigid panels on Liger. Personally, I loved the saloon area and the galley. Even though it had a wraparound counter, which I would much prefer, it felt very spacious. Going down into the hulls, the cabins featured quite a bit of inbuilt storage, which is always appreciated, and it didn't feel like there was much dead space. At face value, the Privilege seemed to be a well-designed boat aimed primarily at liveaboard cruises, and is something I would be curious to try sailing on in future.
Last but not least, Xquisite. So they had the X5 Plus on display, and this was my first time stepping foot on an Xquisite. But Trent spent quite a bit of time on them in Cape Town because for a period of time our boat was sharing the same dock as the Xquisite boats, and he even met the CEO Tanna at that time. I didn't get much footage of the X5 because, to be honest, I got completely caught up talking with Tomas and Sarah. They are just a pair of really interesting people, and their passion for their boats and their brand is so evident when you talk to them. From what I saw, the Xquisite X5 Plus is full of innovative ideas that show an understanding of what liveaboard and blue water cruisers want out of a boat.
One thing that I found very refreshing about Xquisite is their approach to warranty support for liveaboard cruisers. Unlike certain other manufacturers, they do not attempt to absolve the broker of all warranty responsibility and instead work to quickly resolve issues, including express posting parts and liaising with manufacturers so that they can keep their customers cruising and enjoying their boat. This helps explain why Xquisite has had so many happy and repeat owners, including some who volunteered their time to show the boats during the Annapolis Boat Show.
That is my roundup of the boats that we did and didn't see at this year's Annapolis Boat Show. Going to the boat show was a cool experience, although I would still place a lot of importance on doing your research about the boats you're interested in, and in particular finding out what past owners think about the quality, the warranty, and the way it sails.
Something else to consider, especially for liveaboard owners, is the nature of the contract for the boat you buy and who holds the warranty. If you're buying a boat from a broker that can just shut their business or declare bankruptcy if things become too difficult, you could end up with no support. When Robertson and Kane failed to fix our boat, the broker Travelopia eventually stepped up and are working towards rectifying our issues and the issues of others we've observed. To me, this shows they place value on maintaining the Leopard Catamaran brand as the broker of these boats. This final fallback may not be there with other brands who use external brokers rather than their own in-house network, for example, Neil, Lagoon and Fountaine Pajot. Reading and understanding the implications of the contract is also of great importance, and while we have been able to get a hold of contracts for Xquisite and Leopard, we've not been able to do that for Fountaine Pajot and Lagoon yet, as we are interested to know what they say.
So after the boat show, we hit the road. We drove all the way to Michigan, which is where we are now, hence the corn and the forest, to visit some friends and also visit the offices of a company called Steinbauer, who I will tell you more about in future because they make a really, really cool product for catamarans.